This is left side of the brain. And tonight, I want to talk about something. Now, I know you feel like you special. I mean, we all do. We all think that we mean so much to the world and everybody, and that if we didn't wake up in the morning, the world would cease to be. And you might have a point. I mean, if you didn't wake up in the morning, your world, it would cease to be. But the greater collective of everybody else, they wouldn't give, well, to keep it clean, two apples about whether or not you woke up. Because we view this world in our lens of how we judge ourselves, meaning we tend to put ourselves above everything. And we teach live for yourself and not others, but it's a certain underlying principle that goes along with that teaching. And that principle is this: the principle of accepting the fact that your existence doesn't mean a hill of beans to the next person. Because everything in this universe is trash. And that's the topic for tonight's discussion on this red light edition. Everything in this universe is trash, including yourself. Now, don't get all pushed back and, oh, he calling me trash. No, don't take it like that. See, when you look at words and the definition of words, you can't get emotional about it. I mean, it is what it is. Look up the definition of trash. Well, let's give it the left side of the brain definition. Trash is something that's considered no longer useful, something that's easily replaced, and something that's recyclable. Okay? Those three things constitutes what is trash. Now, when I say everything in this universe is trash, let me give you an example, because I like to back up everything with metaphors. You all know how I talk by now. You know what I say. You know the terminology. And you know I like to back up everything with metaphors. So think of it this way. A mother, she gets pregnant. Okay? The sperm goes into the fallopian tubes. It hits the egg, and then blossom. You have a embryo. 9 months later, you have a child. Now, everything that I named is a byproduct of something. The sperm is a byproduct of proteins. The egg is a byproduct of proteins coming together. The child is the byproduct of the gestation period, the 9 months of development, and all of this byproduct eventually turns into recyclable material, trash, elimination, waste. The baby eventually is pushed out of the body like waste. No different than when you urinate, no different than when, not to sound grotesque, when a person takes a BM. We all do it. So it's waste. It's a byproduct of something that is being used. And once it's used up, it's eliminated. So everything is a byproduct of energy depleted of itself. And that's when something becomes trash. When it's depleted of energy, it becomes trash. So looking at it that way, you can look at this entire universe as a garbage disposal. I mean, think about it. When you pour something into your garbage disposal, it's moving in a spiral rotation. Think about the universe. It's orbiting in a spiral rotation. You know the blades in the garbage disposal, and you turn it on and it goes and it grinds the food and turns it into a mush, so it's very soft. And then when you turn the water on, it makes it easier to flow down the drain. That's how this universe is. We moving in a spiral rotation, just like the blades in the garbage disposal. We are broken down every day. I mean, this world breaks you down, stress, depression, you broken down until you're nothing, until you just turn into basically trash, unuseful for anything. After a certain amount of years, nobody is useful. I mean, your knowledge, like this, what I'm saying, but even that depletes after it's been used. Like, now, this is going to take a bit more complex explanation. Okay. Remember the red light edition of thinking and doesn't mean anything? Because at the end of the day, even this knowledge that I'm saying right now, it falls upon deaf ears. So really, it's like trash to the majority of people. And I don't want to defame the information, but if it's not for you, it's trash. And since thinking doesn't change the reality of the situation, regardless of whether we think or not, it doesn't mean anything. So the thinking becomes useless, like trash. You get what I'm saying? The thinking becomes useless, like trash. Your body, it's like, okay, your DNA is already encoded for you to look the way you do, for you to die. So once you see that the byproduct of everything is eventually death, every step from birth to life, aging, it all leads to death, decomposition. And that's why I say everything is trash, because it just recycles. Look at the leaves on the tree. When you see those leaves, they fall to the ground and then they decompose and they just go back into the earth. And then everything just recycles. Like trash, like plastic containers, styrofoam cups, paper plates, newspapers, old magazines, cardboard, plasticware. It all recycles. It's trash. Okay, and like they say, one man's trash is another man's treasure. So that's why I said what I said about, to quantify the statement I said earlier, one man's trash is another man's treasure. That's why I said earlier that to some people, what I'm saying is trash, but to someone else, this is a treasure. You see? So everything has a duality to it, like trash and treasure at the same time. You know, now I like to relate everything to this human prison bar realm that we live in. And you may see left side of the brain or something. I may see you as a jaguar or something. But to them, we are nothing but something to deplete of energy. They just want to drain us of energy. And once they drain us, they throw us away like an empty milk carton. You know, if you pour, after you drink the milk, you just throw the carton away. That's how they view us, as containers, trash, paper cups. And then when they finish using us, they just crush us like paper and just toss us into the trash bin. See what I'm getting at? So, and to us, they are trash. You see? So that's the duality in everything in this universe. Trash and treasure. You see? Ultimately, just like an incinerator, ultimately the destiny of this planet is fire. Everything is going to incinerate eventually. As real as you see that lava lamp, that's a metaphor for the destruction, the fire that's soon to come. That means that everything is flammable. Everything is flammable or flammable. So everything has the encoded nature of trash because it can be burned. All of this stuff can be broken down and burned and melted and made into just nothing. What happens after something burns down? It's just fine soot, fine, just black powder. It just goes back to carbon. And everything is just broken back down. Like, you can't plant anything in the ashes of a fire. I'm sure, like I said, another man's treasure is another man's trash, and another man's trash is another man's treasure. I'm sure you could use the powder of a burned down building, the ash. You could probably use it for makeup, or you can find a usefulness to it. But in essence, everything is just made to be broken down and recycled. Everything is a waste, a byproduct of something. Everything is a byproduct of a chemical breakdown of something else that came before it. You see? Like when you eat your food, the waste that comes out of your body is the byproduct of the food that was inside of you that was chemically broken down by the gastric acids inside of your stomach. Everything is a byproduct of something else. And everything in nature is made to break down. Everything. It's made to break down. And when you look at it that way, it gives you a better scope of things. Like, see, these views that I share, it's all about making you be less emotional. And when you are less emotional, you are less attached to things. And then you can see things for what it really is. Instead of living in la la land and getting hurt and having your emotions ripped up and having your guts ripped from the inside out, when you start to just accept reality, and sometimes it may sound bad, sometimes it may sound harsh, but that's the reality of everything. I mean, they have a saying, you can see the cup half empty or half full. You see? But even still, you are purposely playing a mind game to see the cup half full. So you are blotting out the fact that the cup is half empty. What I'm saying is, blotting out something doesn't change what it is. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't utilize these mental games, because everything is a game anyway. When I talk to people during the day, when I'm talking to them, I realize that it's a mental game. People do not communicate. They play mind games. Especially when a man is talking to a female. Most of the time when you're speaking to a female on any level, it's a mind game. And when you're talking to somebody that's not on your spiritual level, it's nothing but a mind game. You know it. Because you can't talk real to them. And they can't tell you how you really feel, how they really feel about you. So the whole interaction, the whole engagement, it ends up being fake. You can't fake away a fake feeling. You know, you can try to hide it behind smiles, gestures. You know when you are talking to something and it's fake. You know when a person is fake. You can't fake away a fake feeling. You can walk away knowing that it was fake. Okay? So I'm saying all that to say, all of these videos, these red light editions, only thing is about is getting you to accept things and becoming emotionless about it. I have to even do this. I have to do this in my personal life. I have to say to myself, nothing hurts me. Nothing gets to me. And the only reason why something may get to me is if I let it, by thinking that the thing that's getting to me is necessary for me to be happy. I know I said a mouthful. I'm not going to repeat it. You might want to rewind that part. But that's the only time that something can get to you, when you think it's necessary for you to be happy, to have that thing that's getting to you. Once you just say to hell with it, and once you realize that the very thing that you think is making you happy, once you realize that it's temporary anyway, and that it's basically trash, it's made to be depleted. That's why, okay, even emotional things are made to be depleted. Give you a prime example. I like to back up everything with metaphors. If you was at a comedy show, and if somebody told a very, very funny joke, after a while, you're going to stop laughing at the joke, because the joke is made to give you a temporary laugh. You're not going to laugh at it forever and ever and ever and ever. You see, when you having sex and you orgasm, it doesn't last forever. Eventually, it goes away. It depletes. You see, and that's just the nature of everything. Everything is the byproduct of of the natural process of decomposition, like snow. Snow on the ground decomposes and turns to water. Well, it is water, but it goes from, a state of solid to liquid. Look at the leaves on the trees. They go from being this popping green color. And when it's fall, what you see during the fall time, even though those leaves look beautiful, you see, when leaves are turning colors, that's the equivalent of the hairs on a man's head turning gray. And then they fall off of the tree. Like when people get old and their hair turns gray and they start going bald, that's the equivalent of an old man hair turning gray. When you see the leaves changing colors during autumn, you are actually looking at decomposition. You know how the body, when a person dies, they go through the state of like rigor mortis, and you can see like the process before they actually, deteriorate. That's what you see when you look at the leaves change color during the autumn. So I'm saying that to say everything is a trash in the state of recycling. Everything is recycling. It's being used over and over again. Like when you drink out of a paper cup, you think that's not the first time that somebody drunk out of that cup. That paper cup you drinking out of, it was used for something else previously. You don't know where that paper came from. That paper that made that paper cup, it could have been a shoebox in its past lifetime. You get what I'm saying? Like the plastics that's recycled. A Coke bottle in its past lifetime, it could have been a plastic spoon. It's recycled. Everything is recycled. You see what I'm saying? And like glass, they even recycle glass bottles. In one lifetime, that glass bottle was at the supermarket. In the next lifetime, that same glass could be in somebody's window. You see what I'm saying? That's the nature of everything. Everything is the byproduct of decomposition. You see? The byproduct of decomposition. Because the state of everything is trash. Why do you think the world itself is so trashy? Only thing we doing is recycling the same old programmings that's just passed down from generation to generation. Why do you think things don't get any better? Because this world is not made to get better. Think about it. I've said it before. When is enough people on the earth? Like it's 7 billion people, they say, on this earth, right? When does the population get to a point where a change comes? You see, 7 billion people, What if it was 8 billion people? Okay, when is enough babies born in the world till we say that, okay, finally the people in the world are making a change? It's not ever happening. It's just going and going and going and going and going and going. Like the big hand and little hand on a clock. Tick tock. It's the same old recycled stuff. That's it. This is what this channel is about. It's about giving you a new look at things. Because when you look at it differently, that's when you pluck yourself out of it. I'm trying to get you out of the trash recycling process. Because look, everybody not thinking like this. So think about it this way. If our brains are thinking like this, we are in another process of thinking. We're not in the same recycling thinking. You know what I'm saying? I literally feel that when you start thinking like this, your whole entire body changes. Every cell in your body, it has to keep up with the way you think. So I feel that when we start thinking like this, of course, our vibrations will pick up. I believe that when you start thinking like this, if you keep at it, your frequency, because everything is on a radio frequency, we would be basically, we would vanish into thin air to the point they couldn't even see us. Now, this video can go into another direction, but I'm going to just say this and briefly to keep it on subject matter. That's what it means when they speak about the rapture. Now, I know some of you on this channel, you might not know what the rapture means, but that's a teaching in Christology or Christianity about the end times when Jesus returns, and it says that people will change in the twinkling of an eye. What I believe that means is what I'm saying right now. We will start thinking to the point where we will actually just vanish because we'll be on another layer of a frequency band that they can't even pick up on. Like dogs can hear sounds that's too high for the human, for your ear to pick up. Let me know if you want me, because I have another series that I wanted to do on that. I'm going into something else right now. Put one in the comment section if you want me to continue talking about that, because I want to talk about the changeover of frequency. But to keep it brief, what I'm saying is, if you keep at this, number one, you're going to naturally withdraw from people, like I've already done in my life. You're going to withdraw from people. Sometimes you're going to have withdrawal symptoms that will make you want to, go back to the addiction of society, because it gives you a certain feeling of importance and purpose just by being around people. And because you're so used to being around people, when you're not around people, you feel like, well, what I do now? You start panicking. But once you really scroll into this thing is going into so many different arenas. But once you begin to grow into who you are, you won't even feel the need to be around them. See, this video can go into like 3 different ways. I'm trying to keep it on subject matter. But it's a sign that you are growing when you feel good just being by yourself and not feeling like your worth is validated by other people and being around people in society and things like that. That's one of the reasons I don't show my face. You know, being having your face out is a form of communication, and it's so sometimes I might show my eyes and I got my Instagram, but I don't want people to focus on me. Focus on the information, because when we go into that invisible frequency, we're not going to even need a body. So everybody on the left side of the brain channel will know each other by the information. Y'all don't understand why I do the things that I do. I want you to connect with me on the information, not my face. The body is an illusion. Do you see that consciousness that's speaking to you when you be laying in your bed at night? No, you don't see the face of that. So why do you need to see my face? And that's why this is the best platform on YouTube. Because we don't know each other, but we know each other through spirit. And it's also good because we don't have to recognize each other by what race we in and the sexual gender and any of that. We just know each other. Like, we'll leave comments and we just build on information. We know each other. Like, you know how I give my delivery. You know how my delivery is. You've picked up on my speech pattern. You understand my terminology. You know how my videos go. So basically, you know me without seeing my body, without seeing the flesh. That don't matter, because that's going to vanish and pass away anyway. So when I do that book, the words will remain. Just like when you read the Bible. You don't know how the people looked in the Bible, but it's not important. It's the frequency of what they were saying. You see? But this, I didn't mean to go all over the place. Let me know if you want me to expound upon anything that I went into in this video, and if you think I can, if I should explain it better so you can get it or whatever, or you can add some stuff to it, or you want me to talk about it in another red light edition, anything that really stood out to you, that you think it could go into another direction. Let me know. This is Left Side of the Brain with another red light edition. Jaguars up, Jaguar out.